What does Zendaya do to let it go?
Nothing. I do nothing. And you know, it's like, I think people forget, like, my life is so crazy that it's like, oh, you want to go on vacation or something? No, I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to go to my bed, and I want to not leave my house.
Then you are not an interesting person.
It's crazy. I mean, spot on.
Hollywood encompasses many archetypes. One is the good girl, the seemingly perfect, smiling starlet with a squeaky clean image, and for most people, Zendaya fits the bill. A Disney Channel graduate, always dressed to the nines, professionally poised, and liked by pretty much everyone. And in the wild world of modern stardom, being perfect is like living in a gilded cage. It's safe, sure, but it's a little sterile. It doesn't create icons. Icons are born from something messier, something riskier. Zendaya's journey from Disney darling to one of the most powerful actresses of her generation wasn't just good luck. It was calculated, and one of her tactics was making sure her own perfection wouldn't be an obstacle, something the show Euphoria could help her with. This is a story of how Zendaya solved potentially one of the biggest problems of her career, being almost too perfect to be truly interesting. She's created a world where she isn't too far from celebrity chaos. Being in Euphoria, she attached her flawless brand to her story about addiction, trauma, and teenage angst. And in general, with Euphoria being a controversial show, it could do all the messy work for her, where it could keep her relevant. But Zendaya's never caught up in anything serious, you know what I mean? And in doing that, the show's drama became her edge, and its cultural weight became her crown. This is the story of the Euphoria machine and how Zendaya became its brilliant, untouchable operator.
I love learning and I love teaching.
To get the genius of Zendaya's strategy, you have to understand the classic Hollywood trap she's facing, or she was facing. The curse of the Disney child star is a path littered with cautionary tales. You're molded from a young age into a perfect, family-friendly product. You can sing, you can dance, and tell a joke with a wholesome smile, and Zendaya did all that. From her 2010 debut on Shake It Up with Bella Thorne, she was a breakout star. Well, kinda. You know, they both were, I guess. The show's premiere pulled in over 6 million viewers, and by the time she was on Casey Undercover, she was darn near a household name for a whole generation. When Zendaya got her own series, Casey, she became a co-producer. That early move was a clear sign of her ambition, a hint that she was already thinking beyond the Disney bubble. As she moved into her late teens, her public image was managed with surgical precision. She partnered with the stylist La Roche and turned her red carpet appearances into major fashion moments. The biggest moment in her career was the dreadlock scandal. A host from Fashion Police made a ignorant, racially charged comment when she was describing Zendaya's look on the Oscars red carpet.
I love Zendaya's style, and I love when she has the little hair. She just had it. I think she's just such a tiny frame that this hair to me overwhelms her. Like, I feel like she smells like patchouli oil. Or weed.
There was a huge uproar, and Zendaya replied with poise and class. She was never a source of scandal.
And so I've, nothing to complain about.
And that's a pattern throughout her career. She spoke out on social issues with grace that seemed way beyond her years, but by those metrics, some would deem her too perfect. And that was the problem. In Hollywood, perfect can mean boring. While other former child stars were making headlines for public meltdowns, Zendaya's image was almost too clean. Was she admirable? Yes. But was she compelling? She's dodged all the classic pitfalls, but she was risking a different kind of stagnation. She was being seen more as a brand. Her first few movie roles, while huge, kind of reinforced this. As MJ in the Spider-Man films, she was the witty, smart, cool girl. It was an amazing high-profile gig, but it wasn't a role that showed off some depth or complexity. Her performance was praised for its humorous, deadpan charm, but it was still safe inside the lines of a superhero blockbuster. She was beloved being part of a massive machine, but she wasn't the one driving it yet. I should also note that people have criticized Zendaya of how she kind of plays every role the same way. She kind of just has one singular performance.
You did finally see challengers, which means we are free to unleash the Zendaya segment.
She has a certain low-key star power where she always brings it home for me. Like I'm always like, my mind starts to wonder and I'm like, is Zendaya a bad actress? And then she's like, nope, got you. One note, but amazing. And like, okay. she's like a cobra or something. Like she's doing nothing. And then all of a sudden she's in your face.
Or if it's an actress who is stuck in a mode and is not being pushed out of that mode, or is only being afforded opportunities in this mode, maybe it's that.
So that also counts against her, but that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to add that in. Her persona is flawless, fashionable, socially conscious, good girl. It's an archetype people respect but rarely obsess over. Well, I guess people obsess over her, but it's like, it's a bit shallow in a way. It doesn't win the kind of awards that writes careers. She needs to add a little chaos to her story, but on her own terms. She needed a way to explore darkness and controversy without torching the image that she's so carefully built. She needed a proxy to kind of convey edge, if that makes sense. Then in June of 2019, the proxy came. The news that Zendaya would be the lead in HBO's Euphoria was, for a lot of people, a total shock. The show was pitched as a raw, unfiltered look at modern teen life, tackling drug addiction, trauma, and mental health. It was a dark graphic and as about as far away from the Disney Channel as you could get. And right at the center of it was Zendaya, playing Rue Bennett, a 17-year-old drug addict fresh out of rehab with zero intention of staying clean.
Like, damn.
This wasn't just a role, it felt like a declaration of intent. It was a huge gamble. The show's creator, Sam Levinson, and executive producers like the rapper Drake were taking a risk on the Disney star, and Zendaya was taking a risk on a show that could have easily been called gratuitous. The potential backlash was real. In fact, an advocacy group, the Parents Television Council, publicly slammed the show for its graphic content, drug use, and sexuality in a high school setting.
Euphoria got the attention of the Parents Television Council, who warned that HBO appears to be overtly, intentionally marketing extremely graphic adult content, sex, violence, profanity, and drug use to teens and preteens, so they are not happy about that.
But for Zendaya, the calculation was different. When asked if the role felt risky, she said something like it just felt right and she felt connected to it. This wasn't some random decision. She saw Rue as a vehicle, as a way to dismantle every single idea people had about her as an actress and the limits to her brand. The casting was the moment her career's second act truly began. It was a sharp turn that forced everyone to stop and pay attention. Was the girl from Casey Undercover really going to portray an agony of addiction? Could she really pull it off? And the answer, in my opinion, was kind of.
I think I was really stressed, so I would like to go through it, but not as myself, more as like maybe like the fly on the wall.
In the very first episode, I was still dubious on whether she could really pull off playing an addict with real conviction. When she won the Emmy for that season, I still was on the fence. I didn't see why she won it. But her career elevated with that Emmy win, and people had to take her seriously, right? I mean, you win that big of an award, you're gonna turn heads. Critics who might have seen her as a charming personality were now faced with, well, supposedly a serious dramatic talent. Euphoria brought her the controlled edge she needed. The gambit was paying off. With Euphoria's premiere, Zendaya basically stepped into the control room of a cultural phenomenon.
It's a teen drama set at a high school, and it stars Zendaya, who at one point was a Disney star. The show is the second most popular on HBO ever, just behind Game of Thrones. Now, season 2, according to HBO, is averaging 16 million viewers, and it deals with drug addiction.
The show became a lightning rod for debate online, and Zendaya masterfully used 3 keys of the machine: its controversial story, its trend-setting style, and the constant drama of its world. First, she used the show's gritty substance to prove her artistic chops. The character of Rue Bennett was the perfect antidote for her perfect image. Rue isn't someone you aspire to be, she's self-destructive, a struggling addict who hurts the people she loves. Playing this part lets Zendaya explore the darkest parts of the human experience without having to get messy in her real life. It's like she outsourced her chaos to Rue. Her performance in season 2, especially in the 5th episode, Staying Like the Hummingbird, was amazing. This was the episode where I'm like, okay, she is a thespian.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Okay.
It was Masterclass. The episode, which follows Rue on a terrifying downward spiral, left audiences breathless. People even reached out to her to share their own stories of addiction and loss, feeling a connection to her portrayal. This was a strategic demolition of her old image, replacing it with that of a fearless, deeply empathetic artist. Second, she leveraged the show's incredible aesthetic to become a global style icon. Like, she was already known for her red carpet looks, but Euphoria definitely elevated her. With Euphoria, she wasn't just telling a story, she was creating a visual universe. The show's signature look, the glitter tears, the graphic liners, helped amplify a bold, expressive makeup trend that became I wouldn't say a movement, it was definitely one of the defining looks of the late 2010s. These looks weren't just pretty, they were part of storytelling. This edgy style also bled directly into Zendaya's personal brand. The well-dressed star was on the face of a Gen Z aesthetic defined by like edge and angst and taking risks. And it just showed that she wasn't following trends anymore, she was also setting them. Finally, she expertly used the show's non-stop drama to stay in the headlines while keeping her personal life completely private. Euphoria lives on social media just as much as it airs on HBO. Every week, its plot twists and shocking moments dominates Twitter and TikTok. But here's the brilliant part. The drama is always about the work. It's about Ruth's fate or the show's controversial themes. The show provided all the noise her brand needed, allowing her to remain a figure of poised professionalism.
Maybe I was a bit of a late bloomer.
The calm operator in the middle of the pop culture hurricane. That is until things became personal. Unlike other celebrities, Zendaya's career wasn't defined by personal scandal. She's all about control, and she tries to make her craft the public story. Euphoria was that controlled mechanism until her collaborators went off script. While Zendaya was battling her character's demons on screen, a different kind of storm was repeatedly brewing behind the cameras. The once close creative partnership between her and Sam Levinson, the show's creator, was said to have fractured, contributing to massive delays and uncertain future of the show. According to a detailed report from The Hollywood Reporter, a major issue was Levinson's focus shifting to other projects like The Idol. And because of that, scripts weren't being delivered on time for Euphoria. The tension didn't stop there. In the world of Hollywood, insider reports a counter-narrative that emerged. Some people were saying that Zendaya was to blame for the delays, claiming that she was dragging her feet because she was trying to be a movie star, and so she wasn't really invested in Euphoria anymore. That's what people were saying, the rumors. Zendaya pushed back on this narrative in a 2024 Vanity Fair interview. When asked about the delays, she corrected the idea and said that her schedule wasn't the problem. She's been taking a break, slowing down in her work, in fact, and she cleared it up. She said, "I'm not holding up anything, so it's nothing from my end."
Zendaya just clapped back at Euphoria creator Sam Levinson after he blamed her for the season 3 delays. Back in July, a source close to Sam Levinson told The Hollywood Reporter that Zendaya was the one that he felt was, and I quote, dragging their feet on the production of season 3 because of her successful booming career outside of the show. The source stated it was all about her. Everybody wanted to make it about Sam, but it was her. However, Zendaya has responded to these claims, stating she is not to blame. In a recent interview with Vanity Fair, Zendaya clarified by stating, "I will say I have been off for a couple years, so not delayed because of my schedule. I've been open, just waiting."
So that got cleared up. I don't know how it started, but that's a whole nother story. There's definitely some issues behind the scenes. Then there was accusations of a toxic workplace environment. Levinson's on-set behavior was kind of erratic. People were saying that he was screaming back and forth with some of the co-stars. I don't know. Late night shoots, Sydney Sweeney was showing her boobs too much. I don't know. There's a lot going on. This creative partnership being fractured, it says a lot. Since it was once the bedrock of Euphoria's success, it's now crumbling, or seemingly crumbling, under the weight of ambition and external pressure. Pressure cooker environment surrounding Euphoria wasn't just confined to the set. As the show stars became high-profile celebrities, they were hit with a new kind of off-screen drama, a firestorm of media speculation, tabloid gossip, and unconfirmed rumors, adding yet another layer of stress. In late 2025, reports from tabloids began to allege a deep personal rift between Zendaya and her co-star, Sydney Sweeney.
Zendaya is allegedly refusing to do press with Sydney Sweeney for the new season of Euphoria. There was said to be some tension in the past between these two, and now it looks like Zendaya is not agreeing to do promotion for the new show at all.
There was additionally another blind last year saying that these two weren't getting along because Sydney Sweeney was trash talking Zendaya, which is insane. What could you possibly have to say about Zendaya? But then through my sleuthing, I found this post on Reddit where these users are talking about some tweets that Sydney had allegedly liked. And those tweets were about Tom Holland. So this girl was allegedly trying to steal Zendaya's man after trash talking her. She is Cassie in real life. She's exactly like the character that she plays. So the fact that Zendaya doesn't want to be anywhere near this girl, I don't blame her. And I respect her even more.
It's important to stay upfront. These claims were based off of anonymous sources and online gossip, and neither actresses have either confirmed a feud, but the narrative took off. The alleged cause was Sweeney's perceived political leanings. Speculation around Sydney's politics first ignited in 2022 after photos from her mother's birthday party showed some guests in MAGA-style hats, which Sweeney said was an absurd political statement and not her intention.
You guys, this is wild. An innocent celebration for my mom's milestone 60th birthday has turned into an absurd political statement, which was not the intention. Please stop making assumptions. Much love to everyone, and happy birthday, Mom.
This was reignited when public voter records in Florida appeared to show Sydney B. Sweeney registered as a Republican in June of 2024. While it was never definitively confirmed that this was Sydney, The reports went viral for Zendaya, a vocal progressive. Tabloids claimed that these associations were a major issue. Anonymous insiders were quoted saying that Zendaya was refusing to do joint press with Sydney for the upcoming season of Euphoria. And to add more fuel to the fire, online rumors were suggesting that Sydney had been flirting with Zendaya's fiance Tom Holland. I don't know where that came from, thus further straining their relationship. Again, this is critical to note that these stories are entirely based on anonymous sources and tabloid claims, and many fans dismissing them. And a lot of people were dismissing them as manufactured drama, but going back to how Euphoria helped Zendaya from becoming boring, Euphoria was a controlled substance, a controlled tool, and the drama can only be found in the script. It's all good from there. But notice how, with all the female celebs who marketed themselves as dignified, they tend to have messy people around them, but they themselves are never in the drama. Like, even with Zendaya, I think the messiest person in her camp is La Roche. That man is messy. Anyways, moving on, I'm just, highlighting a pattern. When drama leaps from the page into the real world, that's when things become haywire. So now what? Well, after years of speculation and setbacks, the fate of Euphoria Season 3 has been a roller coaster. The renewal was announced way back in February 2022, but the road has been bumpy. Production was first halted by the tragic death of Angus Cloud, who played Fezco, and then I think a producer also passed away, Kevin Turan, as well as as the 2023 Hollywood strikes was going on, that also pushed things back. But even after all those hurdles, Delayed continues, feeding the rumors of creative conflicts, because now with Sydney creating a polarizing reputation for herself, she's going to be a lightning rod for new drama, and her stank might rub off on Zendaya, just to be honest. There's already rumors of them not having scenes together, and adding Sam to the mix makes things more complicated. Finally, after many shifting timelines, HBO has confirmed that the filming for the third season has officially begun back in February 2025, and it wrapped this past November. A premiere has been set for April of 2026, and it's been reported that the new season will involve a big time jump, moving the characters past their high school years. For Zendaya, returning to Rue after all this turmoil isn't just stepping back into a role. It's returning to the source of her greatest acclaim and maybe her deepest professional struggles. The question is whether the magic can be recaptured, or if the cracks that form behind the scenes will finally be too costly for Zendaya's career. But a new season doesn't erase the scars of its troubled production. The Euphoria machine gave Zendaya the perfect solution. She didn't have to tear down the image she perfectly built. She just had to add layers of depth that made her infinitely more interesting. She didn't go off the good girl persona, she just made it one small part of a more complex and compelling whole. This control defines her success. She's managed to do something incredibly rare, create a brand with real edginess while keeping her personal reputation spotless. The show provides the grit, the drama, keeping her culturally relevant. Meanwhile, Zendaya herself remains a figure of poise and purpose. Zendaya's journey proves that in today's world, brand management could be more important than actual talent. Not to say that she's talentless, I'm just saying branding is everything. The Euphoria machine was a Trojan horse, a beautiful chaos creation. She wheeled right through the gates of the industry, smuggling a new, more complex version of herself. By weaponizing the drama, she didn't break out of the box, she built an entire kingdom for herself. Zendaya's masterclass in career transformation shows that the most powerful brands are always the most perfect ones, they are the most compelling. By strategically using the controlled chaos of Euphoria, she evolved from a beautiful, beloved star into a revered artist, thespian, and a true industry power player. But what do you guys think? Was Euphoria the masterstroke that defined her career, or was her rise to the top going to happen no matter what? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Goodbye.